Welcome to HDPP Live on a Saturday night to the UK and around the world with photos, memories and friends. This is HDPP Live. How are you this evening? Are you all well?
Hinckley District Past Present for you, meeting friends old and new. Streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays too, with founder members Paul and Sue. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Film clips, photos, memories and friends helps a dreary night go by. Wearing Hinckley's six of the best, stupendous quizzical high. The smiles that we bring are a heritage thing. HDPP, keeping history alive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Where local memories survive. HDPP, streaming HDPP live. Let's take you back in time. A community affair. We'll take you for a ride. Handsome's cab will take you there. We're making history. HDPP, chatroom applauses. History supporting local causes. Streaming HDPP live. Betty is our queen bee. The sweetest honey candy. Dangerous Den here again. HDPP live. Hey, you know we keep it HDPP.
They get better every week. Oh, hello. Huey. Yeah, oi, missus. Hello. Yeah, hello. Welcome along once again. Yes, we pay them every week, to do that. Good evening. Welcome to HDPP Live on this Sunday evening. I've had a few people asking me, why don't we do your intro saying Sunday? Can't be bothered. Anyway, welcome along to the programme. It's great to have you with us on this November the 5th. And my word, there's a few bangs going off tonight. Yeah. Although, I don't know whether it's me or not. The fireworks do seem either a bit less or a lot quieter. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But anyway, this November the 5th. My word, will be reflected on that as the programme goes on. If it's your first time you've viewed us tonight, well, welcome in. Join us in the chat room. Say hello. We love having new members with us, and I always give everybody a little shout out when they get here. It was Annabelle that got in first with a cooid. And Daniel Coburn, evening Daniel, from up there down Ashby Way. Absolutely it is. And Anne Hunt said, good evening everyone, it's an exciting week down here. It's Carnival. Yeah, they have a great carnival down there, Bridgewater Way and all along that way. It's fantastic. Ian Walker's here with a cooey. And a quick reminder to all of you to remember to please like this video. Please. And subscribe, please, because when you subscribe by clicking the little bell, you get notifications whenever we go live. So it's a win-win, really. Pat Galloway's here with a great big long cooey. Goes all the way off the screen there. Hello to Russet this evening. And Mrs. Smugly is here too. Hello, Kath. Nice to know you there. And even David B is with us. He says, yeah, bonfire night greetings from deepest, darkest Warwickshire. Yeah. And even Dangerous Den has made it for the beginning of the programme this week. We don't know what happened to him on Tuesday when we did our Halloween special, mainly because we had the technical issues beyond our control last Sunday. But anyway, we did it. David Starnborough and the Starnboroughs. Haven't said it for a while. The Starnboroughs are here as well. Queen Bee flew in and she's all poised and ready for Six of the Best, which will be coming your way very shortly. David Allen in Lincolnshire saying hello to everybody. And also, just scrolling down the list as well, Mr. Smugly is here too. Good on Mr. Smugly. They won't be here, for our next social night, apparently. I've already had the apologies. But anyway, listen, let's not worry about that too much at the moment. Jeff Wallace is here. Hi, Jeff. Nice to be with you yesterday in the club and having a couple of pints together. It's always nice. It's always interesting. And so it's a good evening from Anna and Jeff in the same location. These miracles happen every now and again. They're both in Brig tonight, so well done. And have a great night. Hopefully you're going to do well with the Six of the Best tonight. Jane Brown's here. Hi, Jane. How you doing? Hope you're doing okay, sweetheart. And Tim, hope you're okay as well. Look after little Jane for me. You'll have to do that. And, and as we've said, everybody else is all present and correct. In tonight's programme, Six of the Best. We're going to be doing that straight away in just a few moments' time, like I say. And then our main feature tonight is the history of the Hinckley War Memorial. And we're doing it in two parts, part 1 and part 2, all tonight here live on HDPP. And the video which Greg and I produced last year to commemorate 100 years of the memorial. So you're going to learn some things tonight. Trust me, it's a fascinating little documentary. You will learn something about it tonight. And I know some of you have seen it before, but of course, this is the one we sort of only screen sort of once a year. As we are now in remembrance, as such, this is sort of to put you in that frame of mind. So next week we'll be doing the roll call of all the names on the Hinckley War Memorial as well. So there won't really be Six of the Best next week. It doesn't seem right to be doing Six of the Best and then remembering our heroes. So next week you can have a rest from Six of the Best, but join us live for our HDPP's own tribute to the fallen. Okay, right, okay. Very busy up there. Now, I'm going to have a word with Mr. Steve Picker, by the way. He posted his latest video. I thought I was going nuts. I seen it last night and I was going to download it this morning. Went to download it, the latest nosy this morning, and it had gone. Then he's put it back up before I have a chance to download it for the programme tonight. So we haven't got his latest nosy, but we'll feature that in a couple of weeks' time. So, Steve, it gives you a week off, just in case you ask. Right, okay. Six of the Best. Yeah, Six of the Best. Demanding the best of your local knowledge. Now, before we start, as I always say, missus, don't put your answers in the chat room because people nick them, you see, and pass it off as their own, right? Okay, so when you get the answers, keep them to yourself. I think you're going to like it tonight. Let's see how we do. Let's see how clever some of you are. I've got a feeling somebody will probably get 6 tonight, but there again, there is a stinker in there too. Let's see how we do, shall we? Let's go for 6 of the best this evening. Okay, the best of your local knowledge and the best of your general knowledge and a few other bits in between. This is HDPP 6 of the best. Oh, he's spread the wrong one here. There we go. Right, question 1. Very easy to start off with. We've used the question before because we are recycling and we're saving the planet. Name of the famous local pioneering doctor. Yep. Easy peasy. He's often over my shoulder as I'm talking to you with the montage behind me. So I want you to name the famous local pioneering doctor. Aha. Good evening to Gary Betterley. He says, from a very windy and wet Salat in France. Yeah, Well, I hope you're keeping all right, Gary, anyway. Yeah, best wishes to you, mate. Right, moving on to question number 2, your general knowledge question this week. And I didn't know this. Who has won the most total Academy Awards? Now, don't do it with Google. Try and do it without Google. Okay? Who do you think has won the most total Academy Awards? Okay? And I thought, oh, yeah, well, suppose they would, really. So, good. Right, moving on to question number 3. This is one of our newer questions. This is a TV catchphrase. I want you to fill in the missing letters. So we call this one Find the Words. So get the letters in the right order. So I'll just leave it on the screen a few moments so you can quickly scribble it down, okay? And this is it's a TV catchphrase. It's as simple as that. Of course, Mrs. G looked at it and pretty well come out straight away with it. I thought, I don't know why I bother some days, but anyway, she got it right. I thought, well, blow me. So I had to I altered the clue a bit. She said, well, I did get it mainly from the clue you'd supply. You see, I'm such a sucker for making things easy and giving you hints. So I altered my clue for you. And just called it a TV catchphrase. You will know it. I promise you'll know that. So there you go. I'm going to take it off the screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll get it back again in a moment. Okay, so we want you to guess the year now on this Sunday evening. Christopher Reeve starred in Superman 2 this year. Singer Christina Aguilera was born, and ABBA had a hit with Super Trooper. Debbie Kendry told me all about that. Debbie Kendry, she loves ABBA. Right, okay. So what is the year that happened? And once again, try and do it without Google. You can get double smugness points when you do it without Google. Okay. Question number 5. I'm in Hinckley. Where am I? Oh, yes, it could be anywhere, but it is Hinckley. But where in Hinckley? Oh, and there's going to be a few people that won't get this. I will be impressed if you get it. Okay, but once again, let's wait and see. Okay, good. And the highlight of your week, it's the anagram question. Argumentation, Holden, shoehorn. Let's just leave that and reflect on those wonderful words. Argumentation, Holden, shoehorn. Now, this is a local attraction with links to today. Paul, what do you mean? I'm not going to say much yet. I'm going to see how clever some of you are. I'm testing Mr. Smugly as well, because I'm waiting for a wave of smugness to come rippling out from the Jelson estate this evening. So, argumentation, Holden, shoehorn. It's a local attraction with links to today. Okay. Thank goodness for that. The crops have arrived. I didn't think I could hold the ship much longer. They've just arrived. Welcome, Alan and Marie. I was thinking, oh God, I hope the crops arrive quickly. I'm running out of things to say. Right, let's go through the questions one more time. Here we go. Question number 1. Name of the famous local pioneering doctor. Really? Good. Question 2. Who has won the most total Academy Awards? 3. Find the words. This is a TV catchphrase. I'll give it just a couple of moments on so you can get those dashes so you know what it's good. It's a good one. It's a TV catchphrase. Good. Here we go. I'm taking off the screen in 3, 2, 1. I'm saying that on them so you know how far you got. Right, guess the year. We want to know the year that Christopher Reeve was in Superman 2. Christina Aguilera was born and ABBA had it with Super Trooper. Okay, that's question 4. Question 5, where am I? I just was hit by a wave of smugliness just before I changed the screen because John Denny. Yeah, I got the where am I? You smug little chap, you. Well done, John. Okay, lovely. So that's where I am. Where am I? Mr. Smugly knows, so he's sitting there with a cup of coffee going, how smug do I feel this evening? I got that. Where am I? Okay, and question number 6. Argumentation, Holden, shoehorn. Yes, that almost sounds like a business, doesn't it? It isn't it? You can see the argumentation holding shoe on solicitors. And as I say, the anagram, as I say, it's a local attraction with links to today. That's all I'm saying at this point in time. So John Denny already got. He's already got the Where Am I? And our lovely Carol has come in and she says, I've got the catchphrase. Oh, well done, Carol. Already, that was good. Well, can't say no more. Okay, well done. And just before we get into our feature this evening about the history of Hinckley War Memorial, as we are now in remembrance, we are looking at things to do. Like I say, if you've got anything to make nice raffle prizes, prize draw prizes, can you let us have them, please? Because we're going to try, to our best ability, we're going to try and do a Christmas prize draw and a Christmas raffle if we can. That's what we'd like to do. But we really need to get our fingers out for the prize draw because we need to run it for about a month. And looking at the date, we've already at the 5th of November. We need to get it all done and dusted, certainly before the Christmas party night. The Christmas party night this year, and for those that can't remember, it's Wednesday the 13th. Wednesday the 13th of December. We've had this published and written in stone since January gone. Okay, so you can't say you didn't know. We've been telling you. Okay. Jan says, I will drop off, Paul. What, sleep? Yeah, anyway, anything you can spare for, say, the local, for our Christmas raffle, and indeed, hopefully, a prize draw, then that'll be fantastic. Brilliant. And we're also looking to organise in the new year. We could do with a funfair. I used to have a funfair over here. Anyway, we're going to do a strictly 70s and 60s and 70s night. It's going to be called strictly 60s and 70s. If you can remember our old school disco, if you like, it's like that. But we thought, no, let's do a 60s, 70s only. You can come along with all your 60s stuff on and your 70s, your bell bottoms, your flares, your flower power stuff. And we've yet to set the date, but we are going to do it. We've just been so busy to do various things that you think, I didn't organise that. I didn't. So it'll be a smaller affair because, again, a venue, but all the same, it'll be ticket, it'll be great fun, and that'll be coming up. I know Anne Hunt's really excited. She said, at last, 60s and 70s. The idea is you're about to come along and stomp away to those songs. The whole song and nothing but the songs. That's as I always say. Anyway, but that's coming up. Something to look forward to in 2024. Right. Time to move on then. Okay, as I say, we're into the remembrance season. And already, I have my poppy here, by the way. I do have a poppy. But the thing is, when you're sitting in front of a green screen, the leaf look. If I see if I can do it. Yeah, look. Yeah, what it means to that improves. But however, you can see, look, it goes right through me. Yeah. But I keep my poppy. I always wear my poppy with pride and stuff. So there we go. But have you got your poppy? I hope you have. Goes without saying, really. Okay, then. Lovely. Okay, so time to sit back and relax and see part one. We'll be having part two as well later, but we'll come back to do the questions for the 6 of the best. We're going to look at the history behind the Hinckley War Memorial, which last year was, we commemorated 100 years of its unveiling. Thanks to Ian Walker and the local branch of the RBL, and of course Greg Droach and all those that contributed to making that happen. So sit back and relax as you start. You're going to learn things here, trust me. This is part one of our feature this evening. And that, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, isn't the beginning. Shall we try that one again? Here we go.
Could there be a more idyllic setting for the now 100-year-old Hinckley War Memorial than where it sits today, atop the ancient castle earthwork in the centre of a town of ancient lineage set in the heart of England. 1,000 years of history in one location, the subjugation of a people and the creation of a nation, the cataclysmic rendering asunder of the families and communities of that nation in the face of the dirty devices of war. We've come to take for granted our war memorial. Some visit it but once a year. Some never visit it at all. Yet it tells a story worth remembering, worth venerating. The memorial is a sacred place, the names etched on its walls forevermore, speaking to us vividly in the present of the great tragedy of conflicts in the past. The creation of a war memorial for the town was not an easy road, and there were many twists and turns along the way. Indeed, places like Burbage, Earl Shilton and Stoke Golding all had memorials before Hinckley did. The mounting casualty lists every week in the Hinckley Times, the military funeral processions making their way through the town to the Ashby Road Cemetery, the number of wives dressed in widow weeds, the number of bereaved mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, known through church and chapel, social and sporting institutions, and of course the workplace. These all touched the lives of everyone in the town. Out of a population of 21,000, nearly 3,000 were engaged on some sort of active service. The factories were given over to the production of military socks, military underwear and boots for the Russian army. The arrival of Belgian refugees, having escaped untold horrors in their native land, and the staging of the ubiquitous Flag Day for war charities, prisoners of war, disabled soldiers and sailors, nation-states like Serbia, these all reminded the townspeople on a daily and weekly basis of the struggle of the war. The work of the War Relief Committee and the military tribunals held in the council offices, the collection of separation allowances received by mothers and wives to help feed hungry and breadwinnerless families, the increased employment of women in our local factories, the imposition of food control measures in 1917, and warnings of the likelihood of air raids formed the very warp and weft of daily life in the town. Hardly surprising then that in common with every other town and village, thoughts moved towards how to collectively remember the dead. A War Memorial Committee was established in January 1919 and would sit until the 16th of January 1924. Its objective was to begin the task of fundraising and commissioning a war memorial. Such a memorial did not yet constitute an obligation of the local authority, in our case the Urban District Council. But leading figures in the council, both councillors and officers, formed the backbone of this War Memorial Committee. They were joined by prominent citizens, like Mr. Hall, the manager of Barclays Bank, who acted as treasurer to the committee, and many leading townswomen as well, the likes of Mrs. Ida Pilgrim, the stalwart organiser of the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Organisation. The chairman of the committee was Mr. George Cholerton, a local boot manufacturer, governor of the grammar school and chairman of the Urban District Council from 1919 to 1923. Secretary to the committee was clerk, Mr. Arthur Shelley Atkins. The questions facing the committee were of great magnitude. Where practically in the town should a war memorial be situated? What kind of war memorial might be possible? Which names should go on it? Who should be invited to unveil it? Could enough money be raised to create a fitting memorial? And surprisingly but critically, did the local people really want a memorial? In answer to the first question, When the committee began its deliberations, there were few sites available in the town. The committee considered a memorial in the road, in the marketplace, where the old lamp standard had stood for several years. For some critics, this was a paltry monument for a place like Hinckley, and others predicted that a monument here would cause trouble in future years. The width of the way that would to traffic eventually caused the demise of this idea. There was the prospect of acquiring property in the borough, which needed to be bought and demolished to create a space for a 20-foot high monument. The cost of the property, £28,000, would prove to be beyond even the committee's greatest fundraising efforts. The committee would eventually raise £3,500, well short of asking prices of property in the town. Property in Regent Street was also thought to be acquired for the same purpose, but then the idea was shelved again. Vacant land in Station Road, where the old Frank Taylor's garage eventually was built, and vacant land on the corner of Priesthills Road and Station Road were both considered, but nothing transpired. All these deliberations weighed heavily on the resources of the time spent by the committee on its task, with no useful outcome. The committee also considered the possibility of opening a children's ward at the Cottage Hospital as a war memorial, but felt that the priority had to be a memorial in the town first. There were several consultation meetings held at the drill hall on new buildings and in the council chamber in Station Road. The public were asked for their opinions at these meetings, but all that resulted were expressions of exasperation at the lack of real progress. One of the committee members even went as far as to say that the public had become apathetic about the prospect of creating a memorial in the town. While deliberations continued, of course, national events took their course. The inauguration of the cenotaph in Whitehall and the burial of an unknown warrior in a tomb in Westminster Abbey gave remembrance a sharper national focus. Locally, people could not wait whilst the committee met. Local churches created their own memorials and unveiled them. The first temporary public memorial in Hinckley was a floral cross of Candidium lilies that was created in 1919 for Hinckley's contribution to National Peace Day on the 19th of July. It was designed by a local florist, Mr. Charles Holden of Queen's Road Nurseries. One of the Holden family, Percy Holden, had fallen in France with the Leicestershire Regiment. The first stage was to build a wooden frame 7 feet high, which was then placed in the borough outside what is now the National Westminster Bank. The cross was then mossed over in order to take the floral mountings. 3 local gardeners, Mr. George Gayton, Mr. Arthur Eames and Mr. George Malin, began the painstaking task, which took 2.5 days, of placing 5,000 lilies onto this cross frame. They were assisted by members of the Hinckley Sweet Pea and Rose Society. Messrs. Pick, King, Bass, Biddle, Bromley and Stokes all took a turn at making the cross outstanding. They were up at 5 a.m. on the morning of the 19th, putting the final touches to this cross. The flowers had all been donated. The cross was surrounded by a fence, and a Union Jack was flown at half-mast near the cross. The following inscription was placed at the foot of this floral cross: "In grateful and loving remembrance of Hinckley men who fought and fell in the Great War. They gave their lives that we at peace might live. They gave their best. that we, our best, should give. The Hinckley Times confidently declared that nothing more beautiful had ever been seen in the district. During the day, relatives of the fallen brought wreaths to place around the cross, and again the Hinckley Times reported that there were many who broke down with the grief and emotion when laying the wreaths, in the knowledge that many men would not return to the town. Amongst the floral tributes placed at the foot of the cross was a wreath of beautiful red roses sent by the Hinckley Federation of Discharged Soldiers and Sailors. The cross was left in situ in the borough for several days, and people from Birmingham and all parts of the Midlands came to view it in those following days. To mark the 19th of July in 1919, a peace festival was organised. They were, of course, commemorating the signing of the Treaty of Versailles at the end of June of that year. The 11th of November 1918 had merely been an armistice, a truce of sorts. In Hinckley's Peace Festival, over 1,500 officers and ex-servicemen were feted on the day, and the floral cross formed one of the centrepieces of the event. There was a large march from the grammar school field down to Coventry Road, passing through the borough. The cross was erected again in July 1920, as Hinckley still had no permanent war memorial. Meanwhile, Burbagel, Shilton and Stoke Golding would all have their war memorials built and eventually unveiled. Yet Hinckley had still made no progress on its war memorial. The Women's Bible class of St Mary's Parish Church ran their own fundraising campaign from November 1919. The aim was to raise £1,500, which was eventually achieved. On Saturday, the 28th of September 1920, they unveiled their Peace Memorial, which in essence became Hinckley's first permanent war memorial for the whole town, and its avowed intention was to be a memorial for deliverance and peace. Swithland slate plaques with the names of 365 fallen from the war, surrounded with a frame of Derbyshire alabaster, was placed on the wall of the church, and it is still there today. The memorial was unveiled by General Lord Horne, who had commanded the British First Army in France from 1916 onwards, a very distinguished guest. Inscribed on the bottom of the memorial were these words: "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." The Bible class were also able to pay for oak panelling on the walls of the chancel in the church and oak screens elsewhere. The other great achievement was the reredos of solid English oak, with carvings of Jesus and the 12 apostles, all the figures being coloured and gilded. Meanwhile, the deliberations of the Town War Memorial Committee continued. There was some good fortune, and yet also potentially a body blow to the work of the committee. The local cooperative society acquired Castle Hill House for its headquarters. The house had been built by the Hurst family in the 1700s, and its gardens included the castle mound and the surviving moat. The co-op signalled their intention to sell the gardens if the War Memorial Committee were interested. The stipulation in the conveyance of the land was that the co-op would build right up to their boundary with the proposed memorial gardens. This caused consternation within the committee, who feared that a possible memorial would be overlooked. The opinion expressed within the committee was that the good sense of the co-op society would prevent any building being erected in the future which would detract from the site as a war memorial and garden of remembrance. This bone of contention would have consequences many years ahead, for the fears expressed by the committee were indeed realised. At one point, only the width of a tree trunk separated a co-op wall with barbed wire on the top of it from the memorial wall itself. The committee did buy the land, however, and engaged an architect, Mr. John Alfred Gotch of Kettering, who himself had lost a son in the war, and Mr. Gotch's partner, Mr. Charles Saunders, and they put forward a design with costs. It was also significant that land surrounding the castle mound, previously landlocked, was made available to the committee. Miss Marjorie Payne, of Daniel Payne hosiery factory family, was prepared to donate some land she held in what was called Argent's Field, adjacent to the castle mound. A piece of the vicarage garden was purchased from the ecclesiastical commissioners, and land was given by Mr. Thomas Baxter of the Hinckley Times, which helped to create a path from Hill Street. In total, the land acquired amounted to 1.5 acres in size. Mr. Gotch had already been advising the committee in relation to the previously proposed works in the borough and marketplace, so there seems to have been no architectural competition as to who should be the approved architect. This must have been due to the amount of time the committee had already taken over its deliberations. Whilst these plans were moving ahead, there was also the addition of the services of local engineer Mr. S.J. Walker, because of the need to pour concrete into unstable subsoil on the site. However, the fundraising effort almost came to a standstill because of a post-war slump in the hosiery trade and a series of strikes in 1921 and 1922. Workers in Hinckley were out on strike for 6 weeks. They couldn't afford to contribute to the fundraising efforts of the War Memorial Committee. The plight of the strikers' families was such that there was a national appeal to help the families financially, reminiscent of the miners' strikes of the 1970s. The committee ploughed on in the face of all these obstacles. The question of whose names should appear on the memorial was left by the committee to Mrs. Ida Pilgrim to organise. There were already, of course, the names on the Peace Memorial in the parish church, but Mrs. Pilgrim organised an appeal for any others to come forward for inclusion. A list was printed and placed in the window of the council's gas showrooms in Castle Street. In the end, a further 22 names were considered and accepted for inclusion on the memorial panels. This too would have consequences well into future years, for when the records of the war were examined carefully and many records became available digitally, it appeared that several names had been left off. When it became clear that the committee could go ahead with the plans for the Castle Hill site, the question of an unveiling of the memorial took precedence. Mrs. Pilgrim was adamant that the relatives of the fallen should have a leading, if not the leading, role in the ceremonies. From her work, she knew that at least 3 mothers in Hinckley had lost 3 sons in the war. The committee as a whole favoured a military person.
Okay, we just take a quick pause there because we're doing that's part 1, and I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. There is a delay. The pictures are running slightly ahead of the audio. I don't know why, but I can't do much about it at the moment, so I do apologise. That's part 1. We're going to be picking up part 2 in just a few moments' time. But as I say, the pictures are slightly ahead of the commentary. But I don't think it's spoiling things too much because it's a fascinating story. Okay, we just jumped in quickly to go through 6 of the best test once more. Here we go. So, question number 1. Yes. Name of the famous local pioneering doctor. I think most of you will get that. If you've been watching HDPP all this time, you should know. Question 2. Who has won the most total Academy Awards? Question number 3, find the words up. That's a TV catchphrase. Quite a few of you getting this right. Well done. Well done. No, Doctor Who's not the answer to question number 1, Jan. Nice one. Guess the year. Christopher Reeve starred in Superman 2 this year. Christina Aguilera was born, and ABBA had a hit with Super Trooper. That is question 4. Question 5, where am I? Mr. Smugly. Is Smugly got this one? Well done, John. Okay, so where in Hinckley is that? It is in Hinckley. And the anagram question. Argumentation, Holden, shoehorn. Yes, and this is a local attraction links to today. I will just say it's not in Hinckley. Okay, but it is a local attraction. I've visited it a couple of times actually, even with Queen Bee. She probably can't remember, but however, but it is it's a local attraction, and it's got links to this very day. That's the only clue I can give you at the minute. If it's doing you nutting, don't worry, because it means that we can tease you right to the very, very end. Okay, we're going to go back to part 2 now of our History of the War Memorial. And like I say, I am sorry that the pictures are running slightly ahead. They're running slightly ahead of the commentary, but all in all, it's okay. So let's just pick up part 2 right now.
Sir Douglas Haig, Earl Haig, the British Commander-in-Chief, was approached, but he declined the invitation. Considering that he unveiled the village memorial in Ratby, not far from Hinckley, it leaves one a little dumbfounded as to his decision. The eventual design for the memorial consisted of 2 elements: a column and a wall, the whole effect being that of a sundial to Alan Wyan of London. The figure had his arms outstretched towards the names that were embossed in copper plaques affixed to the memorial wall. These plates were carved, engraved and erected by Messrs. Morris and Sons of Kettering. The column was to be the foundation stone. When the sun passed over the area during each day, it created the effect of the shadow of the angel passing over the names. The column was the first part of the memorial to be completed, and on 12th of November 1921, Mrs. Pilgrim's advocacy paid off for 3 bereaved mothers, Mrs. Eliza Attenborough, Mrs. Maria Dolby, and Mrs. Mary Ann Dixon, who had all lost 3 sons, laid the foundation stone of the column. Photographs of the period show the solemnity and grief of the occasion, especially in the body language and the demeanour of those present. The hymn "O Valiant Hearts" was sung to the accompaniment of the Hinckley Town Band and also the town Salvation Army Band. The last post was sounded by Mr. John Mason, followed by the Reveille. These sounds are very familiar to us today because they always form part of the remembrance service. The date chosen for the unveiling of the memorial was Saturday, May the 20th, 1922, even though the committee were around £750 short of the sum they needed to complete their work of landscaping and fencing the area of what was to be considered a memorial garden. Under sunny skies, the unveiling was to be conducted by the Bishop of Peterborough, the Right Reverend Theodore Woods, in which diocese Hinckley St Mary's belonged. The whole committee was in attendance, led by Councillor Cholerton, as well as the local clergy. 3 significant local military figures attended: Colonel Robert Martin from Anstey, Lieutenant Colonel Ernest Clive Atkins of Hinckley, and Lieutenant Colonel James Llewellyn Griffiths, also of Hinckley, added the necessary military aspect to the unveiling. They were joined by two other officers who had both commanded the 1st 5th Battalion Leicestershire Regiment in battle, Lieutenant Colonel C.H. Jones and Lieutenant Colonel W.S.N. Toller. All of them must have known some of the names on the memorial. There were many soldiers in uniform from the local territorials. Conspicuous in the crowd was a discharged soldier, Lance Corporal Carter, who had been blinded in both eyes as a result of frontline action. A very young Fred Warren, later to be Deputy Town Clerk, remembered as a grammar school boy being required to attend the service in his school uniform, even though it was a Saturday afternoon. In all, it was estimated that a crowd of 4,000 people attended the unveiling. The unveiling address was given by Colonel Martin, and it was he who pulled the large Union flag off its mountings to reveal the plaques on the wall. Councillor Cholerton mentioned at some length the work of the War Memorial Committee and singled out two members, Mrs. Pilgrim and Mr. Arthur Shirley Atkins, for special mention for their work. The latter was noted for his optimism during 3 years of deliberations by the committee. The Bishop of Peterborough, in his dedication address, apologised for having to leave early, as he was expected elsewhere. He likened the creation of a garden and a wall as suitably emblematic of the planting of peace across the world. The architects and the sculptor were also prominent in the proceedings. Floral wreaths were then placed on the memorial by the dignitaries, followed by the bereaved relatives, families and friends. The principals then made their way back to the church for some refreshments, and a muffled peal from the bells of St. Mary's sounded out across the town. A retiring collection was taken on the day, which raised £68 towards the memorial costs. The Hinckley Times were on hand to record the event and produced a series of postcards that have become collector's items. In the weeks that followed, the War Memorial Committee worked hard to raise the rest of the money required for the landscaping and fencing works. When the committee wound up its work, the Urban District Council took on responsibility for the memorial in perpetuity and for its ongoing maintenance. The arrangement was by covenant, but in the War Memorial's Local Authorities Powers Act of 1923, it became a statutory duty. This obligation was further embedded in the Local Government Act of 1948. The area became a haven of peace, and initially there were services around the anniversary of the unveiling. The programme for the service held on June 12, 1927, included a series of hymns and a collection for the local branch of the British Legion, the leading ex-services charity formed in 1921. The major commemorations at the memorial tended to take place near or on Armistice Day, whatever day the 11th of November landed on. If it happened to fall on a weekday, local factories closed so that the workers could attend the service at the memorial. Remembrance Sunday, as we know it, was a post-Second World War creation to embrace both conflicts, not just the 11th of November. The advent of the Second World War from 1939 to 1945 presented the Council again with the task of recording the casualties of the war and memorialising those names. This time, both men and women were involved, and there were the civilian casualties of the Merivale Avenue bombing of May 16th, May 17th, 1941 to be taken into consideration. On Remembrance Sunday, 11th of November 1951, at 12:15 p.m, the unveiling of the additional Second World War panels to commemorate the fallen and a service of rededication took place. There were 150 names to be added, as well as those of 13 civilians. Below the names, the following inscription was added. These plates were added in the grateful memory of those who gave their lives in the Second World War, 1939 to 1945. Prayers were led by Canon Turner, the Vicar of Hinckley, and the memorial was fittingly unveiled by Alderman Sir Robert Martin of the County Council. It was he who had led the military addresses at the original unveiling of the memorial in 1922. The memorial was dedicated by the Assistant Bishop of Leicester, Bishop Hollis. As the bishop spoke, a twin-engine fighter plane circled overhead. Again, the bereaved relatives were encouraged to place commemorative wreaths, whilst the Salvation Army Temple Band played suitable funereal music. The panels for both World Wars read like a school register. The only difference being that where brothers were listed, they were bracketed together. Otherwise, there was an egalitarian ethos in that rank, military or social, did not appear on the memorial. On other war memorials, including some in the town at churches and chapels, following a name, there would often be gallantry awards noted, such as a Distinguished Conduct Medal, a military medal, or even a Croix de Guerre. This was totally absent on the town memorial. The memorial, of course, was a centrepiece of formal remembrance occasions, but also a place for private visits, for thought and contemplation. Following extensive research during the 1990s into the names on the First World War plates, utilising the now published casualty lists, rolls of honour, details available from the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, and the advent of family history websites on the internet, it became clear that names were emerging as casualties that did not appear on the memorial. A 13-year campaign was conducted by myself to get these missing names added. I am always asked, how could so many names be missed off the original panels? To which my honest answer is that we do not know. What we do know is that the original War Memorial Committee did advertise for names to be included, and that some names were even rejected. It's possible that in the time that elapsed from the end of hostilities in 1918 to 1922, when the memorial was to be unveiled, people and families may have moved on. That this happened a second time around, with names of the casualties missed from the Second World War, is baffling. However, the evidence presented to the Council eventually persuaded the production of addenda panels, which were added in 2005. These included names of service personnel lost in conflicts since the Second World War. The Commonwealth War Graves Commission has many addenda panels on its major memorials, so the practice is very common. The research into the First World War names was published on the website of Hinckley District Museum in a document called Nobody Told Us. Armed with a copy of the document, a visit to the War Memorial becomes so much more poignant when the stories of the fallen are read and contemplated. As the memorial approached 80 and 90 years of existence, the problems of restoration and preservation also occupied their minds. The War Memorials Trust, a national charity, gave a grant in 2001 towards some of the necessary conservation work. Even in the past 2 years, work has been needed on an emergency basis to repair weathering damage to the stonework and the surface of the memorial panels. To date, though, certain features of the memorial, like the finials, the decorative vases on top of the memorial, have never been replaced after they were lost to wanton vandalism. Vandalism at the memorial has been an ongoing problem and was particularly prevalent in the 2000s, when it seemed that the vandals acted with impunity. Not only were the war memorial panels scratched with graffiti on a regular basis, plaques were stolen and benches were trashed, and also the Angel of Mercy, in her lofty eyrie, was not left undisturbed. The 15-foot column was scaled so that with a black marker obscene graffiti could be daubed all over the figure. At the height of the vandalism, one young person went to the police to confess to the acts of desecration at the memorial. This person had not actually committed any act of vandalism whatsoever. It was merely an act of bravado to boost their street cred with their mates. In what crazy world of twisted logic could vandalising a war memorial be considered a badge of honour? We still have so much more to teach people about the memorial so that respect can conquer utter ignorance. Thankfully, this little girl, whenever she is taken to feed the ducks, insists on also visiting the memorial, in her own words, to say thank you to the brave soldiers. She climbs the steps and bows her head on each occasion. The memorial also suffered through the years from the encroachment of the co-op premises as its backdrop. Factory-like buildings and warehouses came to form the background to the memorial. In later years, when these disappeared, a wall was built right up to the memorial wall itself. There was barbed wire on the top of this wall, and there were strong car park lights. Today, the whole of the rear of the memorial is a car park, and so greenery has been allowed to establish itself once again. Nevertheless, the Green Spaces Department at the Council have sought to keep the area landscaped, and suitable park benches and handrails leading to the memorial have been put in place, so that it is still possible for people of all ages and all abilities to participate in remembrance at the site. The historical research on the names on the memorial has exposed what is invisible to the naked eye, namely that there is a veritable spider's web of family connections across the names, not just brothers, but fathers and sons, brothers-in-law, uncles and nephews, and nieces, cousins, colleagues from the same places of work, recreation and worship. There is a vibrancy to the memorial that research has revealed. The collecting of photos of the fallen in recent years has brought forward the faces of the past. For the first time in 2021, in a DVD collaboration between myself and Sir and Paul Gardner of Hinckley District Past and Present, the names, accompanied by the photographs, were read in their entirety. This was the first time that the complete list of names was read. The memorial is inextricably linked to the war graves in Ashby Road Cemetery. The drumhead service in the cemetery in August 2014 ensured that all the graves of those fallen were commemorated at one time and in one place. There is so much more for future generations to be learnt from the background to the names on the memorial. Whenever we stand at the memorial with our own relatives' names as part of those serried ranks listed on there, or maybe as newcomers to the town who benefit from its excellent facilities and geographic position, we all share a duty to remember. As a philosopher once said, war is not made up of glories, but of innumerable tragedies. The volume of the list of names is emotionally difficult to comprehend, and many have gone to their own graves before us with broken hearts. We accept that the War Memorial is a timepiece set in the landscape. As we do, we might cast our minds to other timepieces set in different landscapes. If we do this, one's mind is immediately drawn to places like Stonehenge. I don't think that it is too fanciful to see that the architect Mr. Gotch, utilising the opportunity of an ancient earthwork to erect a memorial, has drawn a parallel with something elemental and deep in the continuity of the history of our island race. As Stonehenge has stood for millennia, so the names on Hinckley War Memorial liveth for evermore.
Wow. It never ceases to amaze me, that particular video. There was a lot of work went into that just to get it the way we wanted it, really. And I say, and it's sort of only this time of year when we can really, when we can sort of play that appropriately. And I think obviously this particular Sunday before Remembrance is an ideal time to play it. And I'm glad that the audio managed to catch up in the second half, because I was panicking here. I hate it when things don't go right, but I think we got away with it in the second half. Okay then. Here we are, Sunday. We've yet to have our nose there, but before we do, and by the way, my thanks to Greg for all the research that he does to make that production possible. And don't forget, next Sunday, it's when, as always, and I don't apologise for this in one instant, when we do our own act of remembrance, when we will play the roll call of Hinckley War Memorial. There'll be no Six of the Best next week. It wouldn't seem appropriate to have Six of the Best next week. So if you can tune in, join me as we all together pay our respects to the fallen and those that have given their lives for our country, particularly on a local level. Absolutely. Right, okay. Quickly, through Six of the Best one more time before a nosy this evening. How are you doing with it? How are you doing with it? Well, question. Now, remember, do not put your answers in the chat room, please. Let's keep the suspense going, okay? Name of the famous local pioneering doctor, which is quite easy, actually. Yep. Okay. Oh, Dennis Perkins. I've gave up with the anagram. I've got smoke coming out my ears. You're going to know it. Oh, you'll be delighted to know, Dennis, that Mrs. G has got it too. Yeah. Right, question number 2. Who has won the most total Academy Awards? And you think, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You'll find out in a bit. Try doing this without Google, by the way, because you get extra smugness points, you see. Find the words. This is a TV catchphrase, and a lot of you have got this. I didn't know whether a few of you would, but anyway, there we go. There is the TV catchphrase. I nearly gave it away, then it nearly come out all on its own. Kevin Beasley, I've given up of Six of the Best. Oh, Kevin, don't give up. Wait a minute, we can help. Question 4, guess the year. The year Christopher Reeve starred in Superman 2. The singer Christina Aguilera was born, and ABBA had a hit with Super Trooper. So what was the year? Don't put it in the chat box, please. Question 5. Now, Mr. Smuggler says, I don't think I know where it is after all. So he's done retracted smugness. Okay. But this is somewhere in Hinckley, I promise you. Mrs. G finally got it right. But yeah, so if she can do it, you can do it. Okay. The anagram. Now listen, let me try and give you a bit of a pointer for this one. Okay. Argumentation, hold and shoehorn. No, it's not a firm of solicitors. Because it does sound like that, doesn't it? You gotta be honest. It does. A local attraction with links to today. When I say local attraction, it's about sort of 25-30 minutes away from here. So just to give you an idea, it's not in the town, but it's got links to today. Paul, what do you mean with links to today? All will become clear after we've had our nosy this evening. Okay, so we'll keep going on that. We'll give you the answers and stuff after we've had our nosy. Now then, North, Jan, by the way, North, you're asking. There we have it. Lovely. So last night, the family was, we were out in force last night. We took over a pub as usual and had a lovely family get together. My brothers and my sisters, we all decided, look, don't bother waiting for Christmas and stuff, you know, when we all see each other. So twice a year, and thanks to my nephew Ian for organising it, we all got together, and as it worked out, it was at the Greyhound, and we had a great little night, a lot of fun. How many people can claim to have a snowball fight? Yesterday, I can. That's how nuts we are. But we have a lot of good fun. Lot of good fun. Nice to do that. And as I say, always good to have the family, because family is so important. And it was really, really nice to all be together. Okay, then. I promised you a nosy. Now, if Steve's watching, Steve, when you posted the latest nosy, it was too late for me to download it. So we've got a classic nosy tonight. You know. There we go. So we'll have a classic one. So week after next, we'll have his latest one that won't be his latest one because he would have done another one by then. I'm getting all confused now.
That's nothing like the original. That's
No.
nothing like the original.
Shall I do my intro?
Yeah, shall we go down there?
Hey, what's... Good morning, everybody. And once again,
Good
welcome
morning.
to Let's Explore. And we're in Mount Sorrel, look. We've delighted Dave. I don't know if this is going to be an official video for the channel or not today. We're having a bit of a recce, aren't we, Dave? Yeah. And in truth, I should be finishing my Leicester and Swanington video.
Yes, but something's popped up.
I beg your pardon. Anyway, on that bombshell, you heard it here first, didn't you? Yeah, we're in Mount Sorrel, and we've come down, to be honest with you, Mount Sorrel is a fascinating village. There's a lot of history gone off here, and as you may well be aware, it's very famous for its quarrying, you know, and I'm not sure, I think the Mount Sorrel granite quarry, I think it's one of the biggest holes in Europe, ain't it, Dave?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, I'm walking about one of the biggest holes this morning. But we're just on our way down to the river, you know, near the Riverside pub. Is it the Riverside pub? Yeah, because there was a mineral railway at Mount Sorrel, and it joined up eventually, didn't it, with was it the Great Central it joined up, or was it the other one? Well, I can't get my bearings. Anyway, it's a recce. I don't have to know what I'm talking about on a recce, do I, Dave?
No.
Right then, so just in case you're not from this area of the country, for today's video we are a few miles north of the city of Leicester, in Leicestershire in the East Midlands. And where that red dot is that always marks the spot, we went to explore in a very small part of the village of Mount Sorrel. Now in Mount Sorrel, I didn't know until recently that there used to be a tramway tippler system that used to tip granite from the Mount Sorrel quarries onto barges onto the River Soar. I'll show you a fantastic photograph shortly in the video of that. Then just to the left of the red dot you can see a big blue area. That is indeed Swiveland Reservoir, which I think is in the parish of Quorn nearby. And we also went and did a bit of exploring up there, and I've got some fantastic photos to show you later in the video of this place. I think you'll enjoy those that Delighted Dave took today. Right, so before we go and have a nosy down at Swiveland Reservoir, I want to go and show you this tippler, what's left of it anyway. Now what you're looking at here is an Ordnance Survey map dated around about 1905 of the site. Now, slap bang in the centre of the screen, when you look at this from above, it looks like a siding yard, don't it? But it's not. What you're looking at here is actually a large embankment. Now this is your tippler system. Apart from where the railway line crosses the river there, as you can see on that marvellous bridge that were built in 1860. Now that part of the railway is the Mount Sorrel Mineral Railway. Now originally when this was built, it was connected to the Midland Railway at Barrow-on-Soar to the north of this map image. But later on, of course, they built the Great Central Railway through Leicestershire, and they managed to connect on there as well, connecting the quarries of Mount Sorrel to the Great Central. So a bit of a freeway system here to get goods out of Mount Sorrel, weren't it? Very good. You know, the Midland Railway, of course, main line, Great Central, and of course the benefit of getting large quantities of granite onto the River Soar as well. By barge, and you'll see, as I mentioned earlier, a fantastic old photograph of this tippler. But we'll go and have a look at this first, then we'll shoot over to Mount Sorrel. You know, this was all unplanned today. I mean, I phoned Dave up late on Saturday night, and we had a good chinwag for an hour and decided, you know what, let's go out for a little nosy in the morning. And this is the result of that. Right, so I brought you down here. Now that's a beautiful bridge right next to it goes over the River Soar, built in 1860. You'll see the date in a minute, there's actually the date on it. But this day and age, on the top of it, there's actually a conveyor belt that runs from the works at Salby over there. I think they make concrete slabs and what have you for patios over there at Salby. I think they do anyway. But it's very interesting here. I think it's on the other side, Dave, where the tippler was. Right, so as you can see, got little recesses in the stonework there, look. That's interesting, isn't it? Like I say, the last time I came down here I was probably 14 or 15 years old. I came fishing, literally fishing beneath this bridge, and as you can see, dated 1860 there, look. So very interesting. Just before my passion for this stuff took off really, but it's a beautiful bridge, and there used to be a mineral railway on the top of there. Of course, it's, as I mentioned earlier, it's now a conveyor belt system. So yeah, it's actually on this side, the tippler. You see that? The stonework there. I mean, it's well covered now with trees. I'll hopefully show you an old photograph of it, what it looked like. Was it you that sent me that photograph? You got it still?
Yeah, I can find it. Yeah,
you send it me then, please, me old beauty. But yeah, lovely bridge. 1860. We'll look at a couple of other things while we're in Mount Sorrel this morning as well, actually, while we're here. We may as well, haven't we? Aren't we? Yeah, so, as you can see, all that stonework there is the retaining wall, if you like, then, for this tippler that was in amongst those trees there that brought goods down from the granite quarry over that way. And then, of course, they could load it onto the river here, onto barges, and onwards to Leicester, or wherever it needed to be, you see. So, very interesting. Right, so as promised, here's this fantastic photograph that Dave sent me that he actually got off the Facebook group of the Mount Sorrel Heritage Group. And I love this. I think this dates from around about 1880 to 1890. And what I love about this is, you know, you've got two systems of transport here. You've got an amazing little steam engine going across that fantastic 1860 bridge that I think it said on their Facebook group is a Hunslet. And you know, I mean, just look at this tippler. I mean, you wouldn't know now, would you? Because it's all overgrown. And there's a massive barge there. That's got to be about 70 foot long. So what an amazing piece of history you're looking at here. Right then, so the Mount Sorrel Mineral Railway originally was built in 1859, where it connected with the Midland Railway at Barrow-on-Soar, as we mentioned earlier. But in the 1890s, when they built the Great Central Railway through Leicestershire, they decided to actually extend it southwards to join that. Now, I think these 3 photographs that you're going to see now, including this one, this is an amazing photograph, this is. I think these were taken during this period in the 1890s. I imagine so anyway. But just look at this here. You've got this, what looks like a solid granite cutting. And this is before they've shaped it properly and smoothed it off, as you can see. And, you know, I mean, many explosive must have been used here to carve this out of the Leicestershire countryside. But just look at those fantastic old steam cranes on the top of the cutting there, look. And as you can see, they're actually on, if you look carefully, you can see a rail system that these were actually worked on. Fantastic stuff, that. Right then, so I assume this is from the track laying of the Mount Sorrel Mineral Railway. And what you got here is a fine looking bunch of plate layers. And you might be thinking, why do they call them plate layers when they're laying track? Well, what it is, in a nutshell, it comes from back in the days before steam railways, when these were actually horse-drawn tramways. And they actually called them plateways back then. I mean, where like now you use the I-shape rails, if you cut one of these in half, these tracks, they'd look like an I, a capital I. But back then they were like an L-shaped plate, as they'd call them. But fantastic stuff. And I'll tell you one thing, you know, I bet these were happy for the break when the photographers come down, so they can have a bit of a pose, because it would have been back-breaking work, wouldn't it? I mean, I'd have certainly seized that opportunity, I tell you. Right, so this photograph then, I assume, is the same cutting as what we've seen from where the steam cranes were there. And of course, it's still quite jagged, isn't it? You know, jagged edges, but you're only going to do so much with granite, ain't you? But they've certainly shaped it up and smartened it up a bit better. I assume it's the same cutting anyway. I'd have thought so. But yeah, another great photograph, that. With the track down, of course. Right then, let's press on and go and have a little mooch down at Swiveland Reservoir. I've got some fantastic photographs to show you that Dave took. Right, so now we've left Mount Sorrel, we've come down to Swiveland Reservoir. Amazing place, Swiveland Reservoir. This is the actual dam, look. Earth-built dam. Just hope it don't breach like the one at Blackbrook Reservoir did in February 1799. But just up there, you could just see that, look? That's the top of the Victorian valve tower. Now, of course, they can release water from there. It comes under the dam. You got this here, look. What's beneath here is fascinating. I've just been talking to Dave and I can't remember. I think I have been down here. It was a long time ago. Yeah, I think I came down here when I went fishing once. But yeah, look at this. I mean, the Victorians didn't do anything by halves, did they, eh? Not like now. We just throw things up, don't we, Dave? Yeah. Oh, don't you just wish you could get in there? Yeah, and yes, I do know I shouldn't be down here. He forced me into it. But yeah, this is good, this is. Yeah. Nice echo in there, Dave. Yeah, I wish I'd got a torch now. So yeah, beautiful blue engineering lined in there, brick lined. Oh, I ain't got me wellies, have I? Tell you what, you know, I seen my mate the other day, and he says, you know how lazy I am, Steve? I says, yeah. He said, I've only gone and got myself a butler. He said, well, how did you afford that? Money you're on? He said, well, I got a special deal. He said, but there was a catch, weren't there? So I didn't realise the bloke who I've hired, he's got his left arm missing. I said, well, that serves you bloody right, doesn't it? Hey? Right, so now it's time for Dave's fantastic photography, starting with the magnificent valve tower down at Swiveland Reservoir, the Victorian valve tower. Of course, this is connected with that below ground tunnel that I showed you just before this lot, where the large water pipes come out. Side view of it there. I mean, extraordinary building, isn't it? They didn't build it boring, that's for sure. Now this then, of course, you've got the valve tower to the left. This is the overflow weir So in times of really heavy rain, the water can escape over there. And whilst we're down there, we got quite lucky because, as you can see here, you've got a steam engine there pulling a load of freight wagons over the viaduct at Swiveland. And there was actually a steam gala on today on the Great Central Railway. So we got lucky, to be honest. It was great to see. We actually stood on what is a bit of a beach on the reservoir because it's really low at the minute, the water. Now, this is what everyone talks about when they think of Swiveland, because it's like a large water garden. Some amazing architecture. There I am, of course, posing in front of this gazebo type thing, and that's looking towards the pump house. You cannot get near that. There's a lot of security cameras down there, so we kept away from that. But and this is looking back at the gazebo. That's a fantastic photograph, that is. Mirror image. And a lot of people want to get beneath there. Now, you used to be able to get beneath that structure. It's like an underground reservoir. It's a load of filter beds, basically, beneath this structure. It's amazing. It's otherworldly, isn't it, when you look at it? It's kind of... I'm kind of speechless today looking at it, to be honest with you. It's just... we just would not build anything like that now. But... you used to be able to get beneath this structure, and unfortunately we couldn't do that today. It's blocked off because what is beneath there is amazing. There's some vaulted ceilings built out of blue brick engineering, and you're thinking, well, that's a shame, ain't it? You've got us this far and you can't show us what it looks like, can you, Steve? Well, the good news is Dave, around about 30 years ago, went beneath there when you could, and as you can see around about now, here's the result of it. Now, ain't this incredible? What lies beneath there? Such a shame we couldn't go beneath there today, but I wouldn't have been able to light it up anyway because I hadn't got a torch. So, but this is an incredible structure, and it just shows you what we've got in our fantastic county. Amazing Victorian engineering, and you can't beat it, can you? Amazing brickwork, it's got to be said. Right, well, unfortunately, that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Very unexpected today because me and Dave had a delightful chat for the best part of an hour last night, didn't we? Yep. Just before bedtime. You know, the thing of it is, well, just before I tell you a little story, that is the famous Swiveland Valve Tower at Swiveland Reservoir. And of course, where we're showing you below the ground at that bit of a tunnel, if you like, with the water pipe outlets, that is connected, of course, directly to that. And just at the bottom of it, just there, there's a sluice where they can open it up and have as much water out there as they like. But where me and Dave are stood now, this is an overflow weir. So, of course, after torrential weather, really bad rainfall, when this fills right up, like a bath, gets so high and it can spill over here, can't it, for safety reasons, and go flying down there beneath that wonderful bridge there, actually. But I was hoping to get some nice drone footage this morning. Now, late last night, I sent the pissed up priest a message. I thought, I'll invite Steve with us. And he sent me a message back saying, yeah, I'm out with my cousin at the minute on the hit and miss. I said, well, I'll be round your house at 7:15 in the morning. So I goes round there, don't I? I goes round there.
Goes round.
Phones him up. Hello. I said, all right, you're in bed then still, are you, Steve? Sounding a bit worse for wear, bless him. Hello, mate, if you're watching. So, yes, we would have had some nice drone footage of this place with the pissed-up priest this morning, but unfortunately, the pissed-up priest was a bit like Father Jack last night, weren't he?
Yeah.
Arse! Drink! Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I will have, hopefully, I'm not going to say next weekend, it depends what the weather's doing. We'll hopefully get the Leicester and Swannington video finally uploaded. I should have been out this morning filming that, but as noses got the better of us, didn't they?
Yep, we were sticking his beak in where we shouldn't again, but only for interest purposes and historical purposes. And
well, that's it. That's why.
You enjoy it. We don't do anything wrong.
No.
We don't do anything
wrong.
No,
he does, doesn't he? But yeah, so yeah, enough of that, David. Right, anything else to add?
No, we've had a good morning.
It's been nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been nice just to come out, just walk locally. Mount Sorrel is a fascinating place.
It is.
You know, so if you're ever walking round, just keep your eyes peeled. There's so much to see. We've learnt so much this morning, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. I mean, that Tippler's fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the old photograph as well. It's always great when you get an old photograph to... I mean, when something's covered in ivy, it's difficult to get an idea. And the fact of the matter is that old locomotive's going across across the bridge as well.
We've not finished with the tipple yet, I don't think, by a long way. We're going to try and get close to it, try and wait till the car garage is open and ask permission to go around the back there where I think we can view it from.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Interesting days to come.
Yeah, hopefully so. You never know, do you? Anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend and I'll see you very soon. Hopefully. I keep saying it for that Leicester and Swanington video. I bet they think I'm lying to them. There's not really a Leicester and Swanington Railway
It'll
video.
be rebuilt by the time we get it up and running again.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah.
We can do the past video then.
Yeah, we can do, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves.
Have a good one.
Love you, Tara. Bye-bye. Mwah.
Why does he do that? Frit me at the end there. Why does he do that? Scared. I was frit there. We were only frit last week as well. Well, thanks, Steve. A classic nosy. And reading the chat actually was very interesting because Dennis Perkins, Dangerous Den, has got connections to that site. How fantastic. Wow, brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. That's what HDPP is all about. Enjoying ourselves and learning all at the same time. Right, okay then. I don't know how you've been doing with 6 of the best, but we're going to go through it now. And we're going to give you the answers. Now, please, before I start, please don't put your answer to question 5 when we're only on question 2, for example. Let's just do it one at a time. We'll get through that. And let's see how we do with 6 of the best. Now, what I will do this time, as if by the magic of this wonderful machine, I should be able to put it up with chat. There we go. Right then. So, here we go. Name of the famous local pioneering doctor. I'm sure a lot of you have got that right. So let's see who puts the answers in first. The usual crowd, I'm sure. So here we go. Jane Brown, Jan and Russet. Yes, it's Dr. Robert Cheshire. Now, Annabelle says, is it a witch doctor? You see, she's being very silly. Dennis says also Dr. Robert Cheshire. Now, Dr. Robert Cheshire was, famous pioneering local doctor who lived in Hinckley. And relatives of Napoleon Bonaparte came for his specialist. He was orthopedics and stuff, so he was very much into trying to improve his work there, and was very well known for. Yes, Kath Denny says, says Dr. Cheshire. It's Cheshire. But I'll take that, Kath. And Kevin B said, well, I actually got that one. Well done. Let's see how you do with question 2. Now then, who has won the most total Academy Awards? And you would have heard of this, but it surprised me, and I thought, well, yeah, actually, it would be, wouldn't it? You know. So let's see who gets this right. Jan Kirby comes in with Walt Disney, as does Dennis Perkins comes in with Walt Disney. Yeah, it is. That is the correct answer. Annabelle said, it's me in the future one day. Annabelle, honestly, yes. Yes, the correct answer is Walt Disney. David Stunborough having a stab at Catherine Hepburn, but no, but it is indeed Walt Disney. Okay, question number 3. I like this. Let's see if you get it right, then I can say it. Yeah, a TV catchphrase. And it's a good one, innit? But a lot of you got it. I know a lot of you got it. Let's see, yeah. Jane Brown, you'll like this. Not a lot, but you'll like it. Yes, Paul Daniels' catchphrase. Yeah, can you remember that? Yeah, you'll like this. Not a lot, but you'll like it. And of course, Paul sadly missed because I love watching magicians, and he was really, really good, wasn't he? So that was the TV catchphrase for this week. Yes. So getting it right, John Denny. I knew he would do. But yeah, I like Dave B's answer. Says, can't be bothered to type it out, but Paul Daniels. Fair enough, David, but I'll take you that. Yeah, that's good. Right, okay, lovely. So we move on to question number 4. Christopher Reeve starred in Superman 2. The singer Christina Aguilera was born and ABBA had a hit with Super Trooper. What was the year we're looking for? Jane Brown comes in with 1980. David Allen comes in with 1980 as well. Annabelle says 1980. John Denny, 1982. Oh, sadly, John, no, it was 1980. 1980s. Oh, damn. All of a sudden, the smugness stopped just there. Yeah, we were looking for 1980. Okay. Oh, blimey, Russet. She said, was it 76? That was probably Superman 1, and that was 77, if I remember right. So, where in Hinckley am I? I'm curious if everybody knows this one before I show you where I am in Hinckley. A little bit of Hinckley. Right. Jane says is it the Atkins building? No. Dennis Perkins said, I don't have a clue. No. Baptist Walk? No, it's not. Let me show you then. No, I thought people would have got this one. No, it's not Atkins. And then John Denny said, I thought Britannia Building's in Burbage, but no. Carol Beasley's got it though. Empire Fitness in Druid Street. I will take that because that's correct. Let me just show you here we are. There we are, look. Yeah, stop the music. Exactly. We are in Druid Street. And although it's a gym today, it used to be Small Shores, or Small Jaws as we used to call it. But that's where we were in Hinckley today. And there's a little garage at the side, you see. Now we get to the big one. Yes. Jeff Wallace, Empire Fitness. Yeah, got you, mate. Don't worry. Used to be John's gym. It did. But like I say, it's Empire Fitness now. Now then, here we go. There you are, Dennis. See, just round the corner. You never know what's there, do you? Now then, Argumentation, Holden and Shoehorn, which really does sound like a solicitor's, a local attraction with links to today. So in comes the answers. Jane Brown. Oh, I've clicked on the wrong thing, so you can't see the chat coming in. So Jane Brown comes in first. Well done. Donington Lee Heath Manor House. And Dave B. Donington Lee Heath Manor House. Yeah, and so on. But of course, and well done, Dave B, because it is. The clue was a local attraction with links to today. Well, today being the 5th of November. It was also the home of one of the gunpowder plotterers. Yeah. Everard Digby lived at Donington Lee Heath Manor House. He was one of the gunpowder plotters. And we all know what happened to them, don't we? So that's why I put a subtle clue in, a local attraction with links to today. It's a fantastic medieval building, by the way, Donington Lee Heath. It's free to go in, and well worth a visit. And you can get a nice cup of tea in there and stuff, and a walk around the gardens in the summer. It's really, really nice. Okay, let us get your total scores in now. Then, so yes. Jan Kirby, I've not got the anagram and I've still not been there. Oh, Jan. Right, here we go with your, let's see as the scores come running in now. So, Annabelle, 1 out of 6. Annabelle, have a word. Russet says 2 for me this week, 4 for Jan this week, 1 for Alan this week. Marie, 0. That's unusual for Marie. Right. David Stamber only got 3 tonight. Dennis Perkins got 4. 2 for Carol, 3 for Daniel, and 2 for David Allen. Kevin Beasley on 2. Yes, Jeff Wallace just 2. But Jane Brown comes streaming in with 5 tonight for Tim and myself, with a great programme again, Paul. Thank you. John, not so smug, but 2, but no Google. Well done, John. It's more fun to try and do it without Google. So well done to Jane Brown. Ian Walker's got 4 out of 6. So it looks like Jane's a winner tonight, but as Alan says, better be on the next time, get it right. 3 out of 6 for Pat Galloway. Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Jane. So she's tonight's little champion. Okay, we've got some little claps there. We've got some little claps for you. There you go. Well done, Elaine Galloway. She's got 2 as well. That is fantastic. Now then, where am I? Yes. End of the programme time, you'll be pleased to know. We'll be back, like I say, now next Sunday. No 6 of the best, for obvious reasons. We will be doing our usual remembrance thing here, live stream. So look out for that. So it'll be a more sombre affair next Sunday. But equally so, it's a very moving thing. As those of you that have seen it in previous years, you know what it's like. You know what to expect. So... it'd be nice if you can join us for that. Then the following week, of course, we'll be back to normal with 6 of the best and all the regular features that would make a night with HDPP. Well, it's the best place to come on a Sunday night. Let's face it, there's nothing else on the telly, so you might as well watch this rubbish. Fair enough, really. So until then, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to your company, say, next week, and say we'll be paying our respects. And as I say, I hope you can join us from 7:30 onwards. So until then, remember to keep it HDPP, keep it live, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Ta-da. Oh, hello. We're back. Just quickly, for those of you that know, just to hang around for a few little corny dad jokes at the end of the broadcast. We always do this, but it's just for a bit of fun. But we never talk about it in the mainstream, you see. It's part of the secret. It's like a little secret club. Anyway, a few little dad jokes. Just to finish off to finish us off completely. And so here's number one. How did the tree feel in spring? Relieved. Relieved. Well, I thought it was quite good. I met this bloke with a didgeridoo and he was playing Dancing Queen on it. I thought, that's Aboriginal. Or you can throw an envelope as far as you want, but it'll still be stationary. Oh, dear. I have just found out that my friend has been living the secret life of a priest. It's his alter ego. And finally, my wife is leaving me because I'm going bald. I'm not bothered, it's hair loss. Take care, good night.
Okay.